when you don't know where you belong. Have you ever had a moment where you're in a room with people who you used to belong to, and you fit in with them, and then you reach a point where you kind of ask yourself, do I belong here anymore? Are these my people? Do they get me? Do they get my values? Do we share the same values? I had that happen recently. I don't want to give too many details, but I was at I was at an event, and it just occurred to me. I'm like, I've always cared about being a filmmaker and writing and directing the best films I can, and lately it's been, I want to figure out how to help those people, help other filmmakers do that, and one day maybe build a company where it pays full-time writer-directors, and helps bring great independent films back into the world. But I think the issue I've had lately is, I've come back to my faith. I take my faith very seriously, probably more seriously than I do filmmaking. And what's funny is, I feel like I'm doing my best work that I've ever done. And I'm also not taking it as, I'm taking it seriously, but I also just feel like I'm working as hard as I ever have, but I'm not identifying my worth with the work. That's a good video idea. Don't identify your work with the worth, or your worth with your work. I just find myself here. I'm just a craftsperson. I'm just doing my craft, but my craft is no longer where I get my self-worth from. At one point it was. At one point I used to, I think starting in high school, I started meditating, and I found with meditation I could rewire my brain. I could force myself to wire my brain how I wanted to. And I really remember vividly using that opportunity to wire my brain however I felt I needed to wire it to be successful. And I wired it in such a way where I said, if I need to attach my self-worth to this, that's fine. If at the end of the day, all that matters is being successful, being one of the best writer-directors on the planet. And it makes me sick now to think about it, because I don't care. I really, where I'm at now, it's like, no, I realize now my relationship with Christ is more important. And I'm going to be honest, my work is better anyway when I have that value. I've seen God work in my life in the films that I make, and basically, do things that I could never do on my own. I couldn't orchestrate the short film I did about my friend who passed away. I couldn't orchestrate that I'd meet somebody at his wake with the script, who had a dream that matched the script, and I only found them because I heard a voice tell me, oh, so there's somebody here you need to meet, don't leave. And I didn't, and the first person I talked to changed my life, brought me back to Christ. It was a slap in the face. And, because of that, and everything that unfolded on that project, it really just felt like this is how it was supposed to unfold, but I could never do it. I would have screwed it up. I would have ruined it if it was up to me. And I got close to ruining it without realizing it. And I've seen so much of that in my life and other people's lives now, that I've come back to my faith, where I realize, there's a consistent theme throughout the Bible where, God is with someone, and I never really understood what that meant. God's with you, and the Lord is with you, and so you can take that hill and take that garrison with your handful of men. You can beat the giant who's looking to destroy the entire army, with a slingshot, and just being a small person. You can do great things if the Lord's behind you. I did not understand what that meant. I feel like what I understand now, and I'm growing in my faith, I'm apprenticing this, I'm learning this. I think have to not be living in sin, because if you live in sin, you don't have any reception to get the call from God. And when God calls you, you got to be able to be ready to pick up. And he doesn't call you if you're not ready to pick up. And when he does call you, he's going to ask you to do something that is like, you want me to do what? And he's like, I don't know, just do that thing. It's like, am I going to die? I don't know. And then God's like, God knows. He wouldn't have asked you and put it on your heart if he didn't know what was going to happen. And then you go and do the thing. You answer God's call, even though you're unqualified, and he qualifies you. The qualification process comes after he calls you. He works on you. He changes your heart. He knows your heart. He knows who you're going to be by this date and time and place. He knows who you're going to be. And that's the beauty that I did not understand about faith. I didn't understand that. Like, this is, there's a lot of spirituality books. There's a lot of spirituality things. There's ideas, but you know what? None of them are as multi-dimensional and not only three-dimensional. They're more than four-dimensional. It's like, you got to think about it in the sense of, you are constantly evolving as a person, but you also have potential in character. Your character has potential for growth, and you don't see that. I don't think I've seen that there's probably other religions that have that, but like with Christianity, it's like God knows where you are on your journey and where your heart's going to be, or where it is, or he knows your heart. Your heart's another dimension to time and dimension to how things unfold in life. And so when you go about the mission God puts you on, or puts on your heart, you go through a process of change that he foresaw. That's how he fathers you. He fathers you for whatever outcomes he needs you to face, whatever situations, challenges. And when you answer that call, and it might be a ridiculous call, and frankly, you might put it off for 5 to 10 years. I had a friend recently, I don't want to give details about it, but he had something call on him. He got called to something years ago that was ridiculous, that you wouldn't have any conception that it has anything to do with faith or religion. You'd think maybe that shouldn't be related to it. And he answered the call after I heard about the story again, and I had experienced things in my life. I told him, go do the thing. He did. And it's like, it's just the jawbone of a donkey but it can be used for other things, right? God will use different things, even the jawbone of a donkey. And he used the jawbone of a donkey here. And it changed my friend's life in the positive ways. And I'm just excited for him, And there's going to be something in your life. You might even hear a voice say, there's something you need to do here. It might be a whisper. And from answering that call, I'm at a place now where I'm surrounded by people, filmmakers, who I don't have the same values of. And I used to want to help filmmakers finance films and do all that stuff one day. But I really don't think I would do it if it compromises my values with my faith. My goal now is more important than filmmakers. I want to help people find God and Christ and be saved. Like that's actually more important to me now than it just making films and helping the film industry come back. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I'd ever thought to say this before, but I really don't care about the film industry anymore. Like, I really don't care about cinema. Don't get me wrong, I've seen a lot of movies, I love a lot of movies, but like lately, I just don't care. Like, and I think, I love making movies. I love movies You know, I love my friends, and I don't know, man. I want to see more movies that are used for what really matters more to me now, which is faith. You know, I started this channel thinking that it was going to be a filmmaking channel, and it got some clicks here and there, views, you know, but I feel like it's converted into a faith channel, but through the lens of being a filmmaker. And so I don't even know, like, it doesn't really get as many views anymore, but I'm gonna keep with it, I think, and just keep doing it, try to do it daily. But yeah, I'm at a place now where I'm like, what is my goal? What is my mission? I mean, my mission now is faith related, I think, and if that's my mission, am I still a filmmaker? That should be the title of this video. Am I still a filmmaker when you don't know where you belong? You know, I am a filmmaker. I mean, the way I see it, I was talking to somebody, and I'll wrap this video up with this really compelling point. I was talking with someone, and I said, you know, it's kind of like how Jesus was a carpenter. You know, you know, you don't hear about it much. You hear about here and there, but he's not known for being a carpenter, really. Somewhat he is, but he's known for what he did in his ministry, and in terms of all this, you know, healing people and sacrifices, and, you know, or sacrifice, that is what he's known for. And my friend, you know, he's like, well, you know why Jesus was a carpenter, right? And I said, why? And he said, because his father was. His real father. And it clicked for me. You know, God was a carpenter of the earth. He crafted the earth. And this makes me remember, like, when I started out making films, I got really egotistical, thinking, you know, I'm building worlds, all this stuff, I wasn't. Like I'm creating people in my films. It's like I really got in my head about that. But I can now respect it and look back and say, you know, I found my mini kingdom within God's kingdom. I'm doing the work that I learned from my Father, from God. And, you know, so I just continue making movies, and I try to make them be something that is kingdom building, you know, as I move forward, and that's exciting to me. And, you know, I don't know if I still feel a burden of responsibility to help the film industry grow and help other filmmakers, but I don't think I'd be helping them by financing movies that don't respect the rules that I found. You know, like honoring God. It's got to be something they love and is not nihilistic and is meaningful and makes the world a better place, and it's got to be something that is original and not a sequel or remake or cheesy, hollow garbage. You know, it's got to be something unique, but it's got to be something of high value, especially from a faith standpoint. And it's funny is I look at this through the eyes of, like, someone like myself before I came to this place, and I think, oh wow, he's holier than thou. You know, no, this is what matters to me. This is what's on my heart. And if that seems holier than thou, it's, you know, this is just me being honest about where I feel and where my values are. If that doesn't, you know, abide by you, it's not my problem. You know, it's my honesty, and honest, and you know, I heard this thrown around a lot before I really understood it. It's the truth, and I get that now. And I don't know. I guess this is why people hate on Christians so much. I don't know. like I get it, but it's like once you're there, it's kind of like, I'm not going to tell someone that the sky is brown or the sky is green. It's blue. It's just what it is. I'm making an observation based on something I did when I found out when I opened my eyes. So I hope this video is helpful. If you have any questions or video requests, feel free to email me at askthomasprophet@gmail.com, and I'll try to make a video about that, or leave a comment, comment, subscribe, anything you can do to help out the channel. I appreciate that and help it grow. I'll catch you guys next time. Appreciate you watching. Later. Bye.